Hi, everyone. It's Coach Katie,
And Ashley,
and we are the C in Strive TLC.
supporting the coaches who support our teachers.
Well, here we are on our first podcast for instructional coaches. Yay! We decided to start with something fun, gifts for teachers.
Yes.
But before we get into that, let us introduce ourselves to you. Ashley, why don't you start?
All right. So I'm going to really rewind to just my journey with education and where all of that started, because I think it's important. So I started as a struggling reader way back in, kindergarten, first grade. And I just had these amazing teachers. There's actually a picture of me with a kitty teacher shirt when I was little. Like, teachers were really my hero, and they still are today. And they just supported me, got me up in reading, built my confidence, did all the things that good teachers do. And so I always knew, I was one of those little kids that just always knew, yeah, when I grow up, I'm going to be a teacher. And then kind of fast forward, I get my first teaching position. I was so excited about it and so determined. But I got in and I started to teach that first year, and I realized really quick, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. So I was lucky to have really good administrators and mentor teachers and support systems to kind of learn along the way and improve some of my instructional practices. And then once I got to a point where I felt like, okay, my students are learning and I'm doing a good job with building relationships with my students and my families. I wanted to share some of those tips and tricks that I had been taught with others. And so an instructional coach position opened up and I went for it. So that's kind of what brought me into coaching. How about you,
Awesome.
Katie?
Yeah. Gosh, when you were talking about when you were a little girl in first grade, it made me think that, I was that little girl who loved school. I loved every aspect of school. But I got into high school and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to be a teacher. I babysat a lot and everybody's like, you should be a teacher. But I wanted to go into accounting. And we had a day at the bank where I got to go to the bank. And I saw those people sitting there and I'm like, no way. No way could I sit at a desk job all day. And so I did go into education, started out in early education, was going to be a preschool kindergarten teacher. But then I switched and got my minor in reading and thought I was going to be a K2 teacher my whole career. Taught third grade. Then I got a job at a new district and it was fifth grade. And I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to eat me alive. And I stayed in fifth grade for many, 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 many years. Worked in an elementary setting and then worked in a middle school setting for 15 years. Elementary was about 19 years. So, and then we were lucky and got a grant. And I was getting towards the end of my career thinking, gosh, what else could I do to affect education? And a position open for an instructional coach. And I've always been one that likes to be the first person to try something. So if there's something new out there or some new curriculum, or I jump on it. That's how I love to learn. And I applied for it and got our instructional coach, which ended up being at the beginning was pre-K 12, and that was absolutely impossible. So we did hire a new coach a year and a half in the grant, and I got to focus on pre-K 4, and gosh, it's coming back. It was coming back to that early love of early childhood. And so I've been very, very fortunate to be able to go back to the littles and but also with my experience with middle school. I just love kids. Gosh, I love kids. I love teaching. I love coaching. I love working with teachers now and seeing their success. It's so rewarding to work with a brand new teacher and to see their growth is absolutely one of the best things ever. And I think in today's world in education, our teachers need us more than ever. They need that support system. So that is why I didn't know what my path was going to be in coaching, but I it's just so valuable, and we need to be supporting our teachers, and not even our brand new ones. All teachers. It's education's a little bit harder than when I started out way back then. So that's my path into coaching.
Well, thanks for sharing, Katie. And before we jump into gifts, I think you also need to share how many years you were in education, because I think it just deserves a round of applause.
Oh, well, thanks, Ashley. 34 years in the classroom and
Woo!
then 4 years as a coach. So I'm on year 38 and I just love it. I did retire this year from coaching just due to budget cuts. But I'm not ready to be done. There's just so much work that still needs to be done for our teachers. Because gosh, every child needs somebody who loves them like no other. And every teacher needs somebody who supports them like no other. So I don't know what I would have done without Strive. I would maybe still be sitting at my computer going, what am I supposed to be doing? How do I support teachers? So yeah.
So I want, yeah, whoever's listening to this podcast to know that we were coaches who were like scrambling for ideas and actually used Strive resources, and they really helped us. So we believe in these systems. So
Definitely. Well, let's get into gifts for teachers. What a fun topic.
yeah, so I wanted to start by just like taking the pressure off on this because, so I'm going to share a little gift flop story that I had, because I think the most important part of gifts, especially on the teacher end, like we're coaches, we're not going to be able to give them the $1,000,000 that they deserve,
Exactly.
right? But what matters is that they know we were thinking about them. So I had a mentee. She was new to the district. She just jumped in the first day of school. She had so much confidence. She was so fun to work with. And I thought, I want her to know I'm thinking about her on this first day. So I got her a coffee, had a little note on it, left it in there, checked in with her throughout that first day. And I could tell that just by giving her that coffee, her face kind of lit up when I gave it to her, kind of like this sigh of relief, like, okay, somebody's here to support me this first day. It meant a lot to her. And throughout that first year, I would give her little coffees, every now and again. And then fast forward to the second year that I was working with her. And you know how at the beginning of the year, you'll give out little surveys to teachers like, when's your birthday? And what's your favorite color? And what's your favorite gift certificate? What's something you like and something you don't like? It turns out she did not like coffee. So I had been buying her all of this coffee. Well, not a ton, but she didn't even like coffee. It was really the thought that counted. And I think that's important to remember.
Exactly. Just so that they know you're thinking about them. It made me think of something we did for our brand new teachers. We made a little card and it just said, pop it in to say hi. And we attached a microwave popcorn. But it was just going in and saying, because it's really tricky, I think, with brand new teachers in particular for coaches, because you have to give them a little autonomy. You have to give them some time with their kids, but you also need to let them know that you're there for them. So just popping in and saying hi, maybe it's just out on us, or you just walk out there and say, hey, how's it going? Just popping in and give them a little popcorn so that they know that you are there, that you're serious about supporting and helping them.
Yeah, it just shows that you're present. One year there was a teacher who it was right after COVID, and the class that came in, we're learning a lot of like classroom management, like what are the expectations in the classroom. And it was a lot for the teacher. It was a really stressful year and it was hard. And I would just leave her notes, like sticky notes, like, hey, you're doing a good job. Keep up the good work. I saw this today and it was working. This student was doing so good when I was in your classroom. And she was sick one day. And so she had called me. I was in her classroom kind of getting stuff ready for the sub, right? And she's like, okay, this drawer has this. So I'm opening the drawer up. And all of the sticky notes were in the drawer. Like, so they're really meaningful and helpful. Just that like thought that counts. So
I think that's the most important. And in my 4 years as a coach, it was the notes. It was the notes I left. Had a struggling teacher one time, and as I was in the room doing a modeling lesson, I was over at his computer and I noticed a note that I had put given him that said, "You are stronger and braver than you think." And he had it taped right in the center of his desk.
Oh,
And it's those things that mean the most.
yeah.
I had another teacher open her drawer. We were doing a book study, and she opened her drawer and she just fanned out all of the notes. And so for her, it was inspiring to know how important notes are. So she was going to do that for her first graders. She was going to specifically send each one of them a note every month, because she saw the value and the importance of being recognized for what you're doing. So she was taking that to her first graders, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, really shows how that positivity can spread all over the place. I love that.
So I think what we're saying is it doesn't have to cost anything, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Do you have any other like fun ideas of little, cost-effective gifts that you gave throughout the school year or at the beginning of the school year?
One of my favorites, I think, was I gave them a little get out of recess card and a get out of bus duty card.
Oh,
And
I would have loved that.
yeah, it was here, use it. You get 15 minutes away. And I think as coaches, it's important to still be in with kids. So if you are, taking a recess duty for them or a bus duty, it's important to connect with kids. Because one thing I discovered is your teachers want you to know their students as well as they know their students. And so this is a way to connect, and you can see students in a different atmosphere. And then that will help you in supporting the coach, or sorry, supporting the teacher when working with those children. So it's kind of twofold, that one.
One thing that my coaching partner and I did the first year that we were coaches, it was a refer a friend card. And they had, those little cartoon characters of the two of us on the front. And then if they did a coaching cycle and they referred a friend, there was a prize on it that we had. You can get these scratch stickers on Amazon, and you make the prize like, yeah, recess duty or bus duty. And then you put the scratch sticker on the top. Yeah. And it scratches off. So that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, yeah. And then we also had PD punch cards. So they were these cute little cards. And then after teachers went to 10 professional developments or PD and meetings, had 10 meetings with us, then there was something fun at the end of it.
One of the other things I did that the teachers really started to look forward to is I would make some kind of inspirational poster at the beginning of the year. What is a teacher? And then I would put them in all their mailboxes and, have a great year. It didn't cost anything. It was just a poster off of Canva. You can make so many cool ones there. And they put them up. And then I would refer to them throughout the year through PD. So it would be something that we could be working on, like not being so hard on yourself, or everyone has questions. And the inspirational posters, they're like, what are we going to get this year? So again, it doesn't have to be anything major. I guess I'm thinking more at the beginning of the school year, but I think anytime the holidays come around, it's fun to do something for them. We did one year at a PD. We'd crumble without you and brought crumble cookies.
Cute.
Yeah, gosh, anymore Pinterest has all these ideas, wonderful ideas you can use. But I think sometimes we get caught up in the cutesiness, or it has to be this perfect gift, when just walking down the hallway and saying, hey, let me cover your class for you, go take 5 minutes, or something like that. When you know your teachers and you know that they could use a little break, that's where building those relationships happens. And that's where I think you become an effective coach, and one that they'll trust. Your teachers will trust. So it's just little things. It's acknowledging it. It's seeing a teacher who might be having a bad day or a good day. Gosh, I had a teacher one year who was brand new working on transitions, and I was in the hallway and I stopped and listened, and her transition was spot on. And I just popped in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so proud of you. And her face just lit up. And sometimes that's all it takes, right? Just noticing and acknowledging their hard work.
100%. And coaches, we have this unique position where we we get to see those moments, and it's a gosh, what a great opportunity for us as coaches to get to see those things.
Yeah, sometimes it's even just a simple text, isn't it? Sending one in the evening saying, "Hey, I saw you had a rough day. Hope you're doing better." And I would have teachers come out and say, "How did you know?" So being, I just think, super aware of who your teachers are and what they need at the moment. The big gifts, the fun gifts, yeah, definitely, they're fun to do. But it's everything that you do as a coach too, right? It's not just having to give a gift, because if you give a gift and you're not sincere about it and you're just doing it for the show, then it really doesn't mean as much, I don't think.
Right, right. So our takeaway again from this podcast is it's the thought that counts.
Exactly. Build those relationships, know the teachers, surprise them every once in a while with some little gem, but more importantly, it's the handwritten notes. It's noticing what your teachers are excelling in or what they need at the moment.
All right. So we do have some little treasures that we're going to share with this podcast too. And they're in these things that we call Strive's coaching bundles. Katie, how would you describe a coaching bundle to someone who's just listening for the first time?
Oh my gosh, coaching bundles. So you can get on Strive TLC website. You'll get all these little treasures, just little. It could be a cover for a binder to keep yourself organized. It could be, well, we've got webinars on there. Just some little tidbit that might help you get started. I know when I first started, I just sat at my desk going, gosh, I had teaching down. Why did I think I wanted to do something like coaching? I don't know what I'm doing. And so it's nice to get onto Strive TLC and grab something out of the bundle and say, okay, this is something that I could try. This gives me at least a starting point.
Absolutely. It's really easy to grab those resources. They're free.
Yes,
free.
free.
The cool thing about them is too, they're not just Katie and I who are developing these. These are coaches that are across the country that are saying like, ooh, I have a good idea for a gift. This is what it is. And then we're able to share that out. It's kind of a platform to share good ideas from other coaches, which is awesome. So we'll link some that have good gift ideas and maybe some relationship building ideas as well. I think that would tie in nicely to this podcast.
Yeah, that's perfect. Excellent. Right. Well, thanks for listening. Gosh, we did our first podcast here, Ashley.
We got it. We got it. And remember, we are Strive TLC, supporting teachers, leaders, and of course, all of you wonderful coaches.
So don't forget to check out those free coaching bundles linked below that have resources that we talked about in this podcast. Thanks for listening. Hope to have you pop into another one. Keep working hard with those teachers.